Right, section 11.8, surface areas and volumes of spheres. It's our last one, ladies and gentlemen. So the surface area of a sphere is S is equal to 4 pi r squared, where r is the radius of the sphere. So to know that, I should probably tell you a couple of things here. So first of all, let's see. Let's cut in half. Let's see. Why is it doing that? So half a sphere is a hemisphere. And we've seen those before. And the thing to remember here, the most important thing is that when I cut it in half, all right, when I cut it in half, this is the greatest part of the circle. In fact, it is called the Great Circle. And that is the one that we'll use a lot to find the radius or diameter or whatever we need, all right? So remember, the Great Circle is the one that we need, all right? So on example 1 here, it says find the surface area of each sphere. So in the first one there, we have a diameter. So remember, r then would equal half of that. So you can either call it 3/2 or 1.5, all right? Now I'm going to just show you why I'm going to leave it at 3/2 here, because sometimes it works nice. So S is equal to 4 pi r squared. And on this time here, we'll have 4 times pi times 3/2 squared. So now I'm going to go off to the side here. So I have the 4 there. And then I have 3 squared, which is 3 times 3. And I have the bottom, which is 2 times 2. So if you think about it, what is 2 times 2? It's 4. So I can get rid of that. And what do I have left? Just 9, right? So 3 times 3 is 9. So I can go and say then that simplifies to 9 pi. All right. And again, depends on what they're asking you. If they ask you to leave it in terms of pi, you're going to give them 9 pi. If they ask you to round to the nearest hundredth or whatever, you will say, in this case, I said hundredth. So you'd say 28.27. Remember, area is always squared. So it'll be feet squared or square feet. B. On this one here, they're giving us the circumference of the great circle. So they're telling us that the circumference is 15 pi. So remember that circumference is equal to 2 pi r. So then we can say that 2 pi r is equal to 15 pi. All right. And then if we do that, we can divide both sides by 2 pi. And then we'll get that our r is equal to 7.5. All right, so now we're just going to use our formula. S is equal to 4 pi times r squared. Our r squared in this case is 7.5 squared. All right, and if I work that out, it actually works out to be a nice number. So it's 225 pi, or again, if I approximate it, it'll be 706.86, and our units on this one is meters squared. Example 2, find the diameter of the sphere. So again, we know that this one, they're giving us the surface area. So we know that our surface area, which again is 4 pi r squared, I can state that it is equal to 144 pi. All right, so I don't really need this anymore if I don't want it. So now I'm going to solve this for pi. So again, I'm going to divide both sides here. For r, excuse me. I'm going to divide both sides by 4 pi. And that'll give me that r squared is equal to 36. Again, to get rid of a square, you're going to square root it. So r is equal to the square root of 36, which is equal to 6. Now they asked us to find the diameter. So remember, the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. So in this case, it's 2 times 6, which is equal to 12 centimeters. Okay. The volume of a sphere, so the next page, is 4/3 pi r cubed, where again, r is the radius of the sphere. Again, it's at the great circle. So, first one here, find the volume of the sphere. So, I'm going to do the same thing here, and you'll see why. So, our diameter is equal to 3. So, our radius will be half of that, or 3/2. Okay? So, again, if I use V is equal to 4/3 pi times 3/2 cubed. Again, let me go off to the side here. So I can say that I have the 4/3 there. And then I have 3 cubed, which is 3 times 3 times 3. And I have on the bottom 2 cubed, which is 2 times 2 times 2. So if you look at it, 4 is equal to 2 times 2. And then I can get rid of 1, 3 there. So what do you have left? You have 9/2 pi. All right. And again, it depends on how they ask you to do it. If I work that out, I would get 14.14. And then again, what is volume always? I told you earlier, it's always feet cubed. Okay. The next one is the surface area of a sphere is 676 pi square inches. Find the volume of the sphere. Well, the volume only uses radius, so we're going to have to find the radius here again. So our volume is 4/3 pi r squared. Excuse me. Here, let me fix that. I'm sorry. Because it said the surface area. So if we're talking about the surface area, the volume of the surface area was 4 pi r squared. All right. And that will equal 676 pi. All right. Again, the square there tells me that it's that. And let me make that last 6 a little better. Okay. So now we're going to divide both sides by 4 pi. If I do that, I'll get that r squared is equal to, because the pi's are going to go away, so we just have a number, right? So r squared is equal to 169. Again, to get rid of a square, I'm going to square root. So the square root of 169 is actually a nice number. It's 13. So now we can use the radius to find the volume. So volume is equal to 4/3 pi, and then in this case we have 13 cubed. Again, if I was just to plug that in, I would get 929.33 pi. Again, if they want me to leave it in terms of pi, it's okay if there's a decimal in front. I've never said you couldn't have one. And then again, if I plugged in pi in the calculator, I would get 9,202.77. And let's see, we're in inches. So again, since it's volume, I'm going to say it's inches cubed. And then just like on the last couple here, we have a composite here that we need to work on. So on this one here, I can say that the total volume, well, let's kind of look and see what we have here. So if I call this one here V1, it's a hemisphere, right? So if I look at the other one here, well, isn't that also a hemisphere? So when I have two hemispheres, well, what is two hemispheres? Well, it's just a sphere. So on this one here, why don't we just go ahead and say that the total volume is equal to the volume of a sphere. All right, or you could take 2 times the volume there, and then we have the volume of the cylinder. So let's go that way. That'll be a little easier. So we know then that the volume of the sphere is going to be 4/3 pi. Well, we have a diameter is 12, so our radius is equal to half that, so our radius is going to equal 6, right? So then I'm going to have 4/3 pi r cubed, so 6 cubed. Well, let me go ahead and write the formula first, just to make sure, in case some of us forgot. All right, and then the volume of the cylinder would be pi times r squared, right, which is our capital B, remember, times h. Okay, so on this one here, again, let's plug in our r. And our h is 10 inches. There's our h. All right. If I do them separately, you'll find that this is 288 pi. If I work out this other one, okay, 6 squared is 36 times 10 is 360. So I'll have 360 pi, which equals 648 pi. Or again, just in case I've been asking, and on this one here, I have 2,036 cubic inches. Okay. Thank you. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Last section of the chapter.